If you walk into a lecture and try to write down every spoken word, your notebook quickly turns into a dense wall of text. It's overwhelming to read and almost impossible to review. But if you look at a clean diagram with a few strategic annotations, the core concepts stand out immediately. You can build that kind of clarity by analyzing the visual materials before the professor even starts speaking. The slides they prepare are a map of the entire lecture. Look at the progression of a typical slide deck. A title slide establishes the subject, a map provides the context, and a detailed chart delivers the specific data. You can turn those slides into the scaffolding for your notes. By outlining those three main categories at the top of your page, your structure is ready to go. Reading the visual blueprint first means you already know where the logic is heading. You are simply waiting to slot the details into an existing framework. When a complex academic chart appears on screen, the instinct is to panic and try to copy every single data point. That completely distracts you from the professor's explanation. Use a 5-step checklist. First, read the title. Second, check headings. We see language focus, referring to diagrams. Third, identify axes, feelings, and time. Fourth, check the Hofstede citation. Finally, trace the curve dipping from euphoria into culture shock and rising to acculturation. Running through this checklist takes only seconds, but it frees your brain to process the lecturer's actual interpretation of the chart instead of struggling to decode what the lines mean. Lecturers rarely just read the data off the screen. They use diagrams as a foundation for their own ideas, relying on verbal cues to direct your attention to specific parts of the visual. You can track their logic by listening for signposting language. This textbook excerpt details the specific phrases professors use to transition between concepts. They will use directional phrases like moving on to, or sequence indicators like below that and followed by. These phrases are physical directions for your eyes. When you hear them, you know exactly where to focus on the slide and exactly where your next note belongs. A lecturer puts this color-coded map of global legal systems on the board. You must choose a matching note-taking structure. The legend categorizes the world into civil and common law, implying a comparison. A 2-column table or Venn diagram efficiently captures this contrast. Better yet, if you have pre-printed slides or handouts, annotate directly on top of them. Draw arrows and write definitions right next to the corresponding data. Matching your note format to the visual's inherent logic, whether it's a comparison, a timeline, or a process, preserves the precise relationship between the ideas. Let's run through the full workflow in real time. A new slide appears. You execute the 5-step check. The title shows student activity hours, divided between employed and unemployed students. The lecturer says, if we look at the weekday average, you hear that signpost, find the column, and box it. You didn't write down 20 different numbers. You captured a single clear implication, driven by the intersection of the speaker's cue and the visual evidence. The strategy relies on 4 pillars. Predict the structure using the slide sequence. Orient yourself with the 5-step check. Follow the verbal signposts. And match your note format to the visual. Stop fighting the slides. Treat them as your note-taking shortcut, and let the